Hey everyone, it's Ivan with KitBadger.com, out here with some buddies, and this is day one of the tactical games down here in South Carolina. Just got basically our safety brief and gonna cut out and go get this party started. Typical fashion, trying new gear to include these, which came the other day, I think. Brand new limbs. Been running the trailheads, and they finally redid them. I say finally. The ones they put out were not very wide. So hopefully these are wider and hopefully they fit, because I'm gonna run them right now. See what happens. So far so good. They do fit. I may or may not tie them. Just finished up Battle 1, first heat in the Elite Division. Essentially all through that nuke facility, start out carrying this big, heavy, like probably 50-pound like sandbag ball, down and back, down, end up going through a bunch of tunnels, climbing through, hop out, back up through other tunnels, eventually end up climbing this little like ladder, and then kind of fast rope down through the facility. Ultimately, it's a big maze. Most of the stuff was taped off, so you pretty much directed in the right direction. And through a number of different targets, some were no shoot.
You're clear. Roger.
I ended up blowing right past like my last set of targets. As I'm cruising along, I'm like, man, I probably shouldn't have this extra magazine, but it is what it is. By the time I realized, I was like, I'm not gonna hike myself back up there to go shoot it, so whatever, get what you get. That was basically a 10 miss, so 100-second penalty. I think I got finished in 904 seconds, whatever that is. That was my raw time. And then I did get a bonus because there's basically something hidden in there. I'm like, all right, noted. Then when you get done, be like, hey, I saw this. And they're like, all right, good to go. But yeah, it was rough, like right out the gate. On top of that, obviously I'm sweating. All my clothes are soaked. It's super hot out here. My limbs, first time out of the box, they did good for me. But yeah. We go get hydrated, eat some food, and move on to Battle 2, which is going to be a giant tower over that way. The second group hasn't technically finished because...
So we're on a hold right now because two competitors from another battle group are both currently stuck in a small pipe, and the local fire department and other competitors that are actually here that are trained in it are doing a confined space rescue on them. They're both fine, but they're actually being rescued out of some small pipes right now. So the rest of us are on hold, and hopefully they're all okay, which the word on the street is they're doing fine, they can breathe, and they're hooking them up to a harness and extracting them right now.
We were sitting over there a minute ago and I was like, why is that dude running with all that rope?
I thought he was Boondock Saints in it.
Right? I just finished with battle 2. There's a smoker. It started over here, basically, I don't know, probably a 200-yard, well, shoot, all said and done, I don't know how far. Basically a farmer's carry, 2 5-gallon water jugs, about 40 pounds piece. And back over in front of this like 8-story building, dump one, grab the other, start going up flights of stairs, however you want to carry it. Initially, my rifle was on my back, and so I pretty much I started hugging it and then kind of playing with different ways to carry it. None of them are good. Made it up to the 4th floor, you go out, ground your stuff, go break. All this was iron sights too, so quick note on that. I use these Ultradyne, which kind of used before. I mean, I've zeroed them, played with them some at the range. And I have this primary arm Cyclops 1X. I love it, does a good job. It's in a ScalarWorks mount, so I found it to be pretty repeatable. We'll find out when I put this back on and don't re-zero it because I don't have time. But yeah, I ended up pulling this guy off, largely in part because, well, you can shoot through, I have shot through these, like you can make it work. With the Ultradyne, it wasn't very easy. So I was like, whatever, I'm gonna pull this guy off. Because Elite, we had to do that. And so a magazine of 20 rounds at about 100 yards, aiming down, holding dead center. It's supposed to be A-zone. We'll see what I got. After that effective mag dump, I was like, I'm not putting this back on my back. Kept it slung up front so I wouldn't burn the hell out of myself. Started carrying my jug back up to the 8th floor. Eventually you dump it. But so I ended up getting up to the 8th. Another like 20 round mag dump, this time at about 200 yards from like standing. Both times supported. I will say this hand stop, I forget what they call it, by True North Concepts, totally clutch. Able to get a really stable position, whether it's kneeling or standing, loading this thing against rusty ass rail. And yeah, blasted those, then went over, support hand only, draw out your pistol, load it, charge it. I charged it off my belt. I didn't get it fully the first one, in part because I'm trying to do it like super safe because there's a bunch of judges watching. Click, like probably off the paper. I'm like, okay, I obviously need to slow down. Charged it again, went up, well, support hand, went up, broke a shot like wildly outside of the A zone, probably about 10 yards. A couple more shots, I'm like, okay. To the wall, squeeze. All right, perfect. To the wall, squeeze. Like keyholing rounds. And then I'd speed up, drop more rounds. Like, okay, slow back down, slow down. Okay, there we go. All right, cool, confident. Boom, like shank it. Whatever, dropped a number of rounds. Finished up that. Holstered up, grabbed my rifle, tried not to burn myself after 40 rounds through this thing, pretty rapid succession. Water jug back down to the bottom of 8 stories, pick up both of them, and back across the finish line. I want to say my time was somewhere sub 15, like 14 something maybe. I don't know. I'll find out in a minute. But what was the best part about that? Being done with it, pretty much. It was a smoker, but whatever. It's done. Number 3 now, one more battle for the day. No third battle in day 1. Basically what we ended up with was this weather coming in. Starting to sprinkle a little bit now, which isn't a big deal, but there was lightning actually pretty close. They ended up calling it, and we ended up finishing 2 battles. I think some of the athletes in the women's division only ended up getting through 1 event, which is a bummer. And now, pretty much have everyone over at the beer garden, hanging out. So we're gonna pick up where we left off ultimately tomorrow. I think we're starting at like 06:30. Hopefully there's lightning over there. Hopefully we'll actually get through like all 6 events, cram them in tomorrow and get it done, but see what we get. And as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Are you
Everyone,
doing
it's
it
Ivan.
right there, Ivan.
Shorts.
Well, I'm changing behind you.
Perfect. Everyone, it's